President Trump catches the commie cough, and the left reacts with all the predictability of a Hollywood retread rom-com. Minus the love and laughter, of course. If leftist hate and vitriol were an economic commodity, it'd have the scarcity of a Democrat city sewer rat. Did I just repeat myself? I don't even know anymore.
Never tell them who I am. Well, how dare I'm a man. 6 shooters in both my hands. I'm a cold-blooded brother, a real bad mother. Watch out, honey, here I am.
I'm back. So I apologize, guys. I had a couple days hiatus there. Work was kind of kicking my ass all over the place this week. It was a rough week, a lot of work, a lot of stuff to do, and until this pays the bills, unfortunately, I gotta set my priorities at the job that does pay the bills. On a positive note, though, because of a couple donations from my viewers here, you guys, thank you very much, I do have a new webcam coming. So I know I've I've complained about this built-in webcam that I have here on my iMac. It's total garbage, and so I have what should be a good webcam coming soon, which will help up the production value of this show a bit. So I look forward to getting that in. But today in the news, Donald Trump has contracted the commie cough, the pinko pox, the Chinese Wu flu Kung Pao sicken. Yes, Donald Trump has COVID-19, the coronavirus. And I don't think this is really all that big of a deal. I think Trump is going to be just fine. My thoughts and prayers are with him and Melania. I hope that they don't get serious symptoms or anything like that. But, he is older. He is a little bit on the overweight side. But he does also have the best health care in the world, being the President of the United States. So let's just pray that he isn't joining the great Herman Cain anytime soon. And I'm still hurt by Herman Cain's death. But, of course, the response from the left has been of mockery and utter vitriol. So we have this article here from Fox News where a Minnesota paper pulls a story mocking Trump's COVID-19 diagnosis, condemning liberals who take the high road. So a Minnesota newspaper has removed a piece from its website that mocked President Trump and First Lady Melania over their positive test for coronavirus. City Pages, an alternative weekly covering Minneapolis and St. Paul, published an article Friday headline, "Let's laugh at all these very good Trump has COVID tweets." Editor-in-chief Emily Castle led the piece by writing, "So President Trump and the First Lady have COVID. Man, anyone else just in a really inexplicably good mood this morning." I'm getting really sick of the left acting like these complete psychopaths and then thinking that they somehow have some moral high ground. And I think what a lot of this comes down to is that the left has controlled the culture for so long, and for so long, because the left was winning and they never felt like there was a challenge or a threat to their establishment, it was all a party. And one thing ruled the culture, and I'm not going to lie, I was caught up in it too, and that's nihilism. So the left-wing culture that has permeated American society, American culture, since the 1960s has been undergirded by a progressively more and more nihilistic worldview in which nothing really matters. It's just, it's a lot of just, keep the party going type thing. But now, with Donald Trump winning in 2016, they finally felt like there might be something momentous enough to stop the progression of left-wing power, left-wing hegemonic power. So they had it culturally, and from the culture they were able to get it through the politics, and it became more and more palatable for the politics to go further and further left as the culture moved further and further left and became more and more nihilistic. So now what we end up with is this left-wing culture that is both insanely nihilistic but also insanely moralistic. And it's a complete incoherency. It makes no sense whatsoever. And you can see that with any of the statements that they make. Look at the memes that they put out. Look at the way that they frame their arguments. They can only hold one side accountable. They never hold their own side accountable. And so they have this sort of almost religious, dogmatic sense of moral superiority. It's almost like what the Christian right was in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And, back then, that was... Nobody really likes that moral that moral supremacy, I guess you could say. Nobody really likes having other people push their morals down on them and then degrade them for their life choices and what they believe in and things like that. And for the right, it was the Christian, or in the past, it was the Christian right that was like that. But now it's flipped, and it's the left, and they've got kind of that same holier than thou type of mentality that the Christian right did back in the late 20th century. But they don't have any of the values that actually undergird it. So they're just this nihilist, seething, vitriolic, but we're better than you. It's so bizarre, and it's so incoherent. So while it is in the spirit of alt-weekly journalism to provoke and push boundaries, in this case we went too far. We apologize to our readers and to our advertisers. Okay, I don't care about their apologies. They know where they can put their apologies. In the article, Castle mocked anyone who might have come in contact with Trump at a pair of campaign events in Minnesota earlier this week. Trump was in Minnesota on Wednesday for an enormous outdoor rally in Duluth and a big old indoor Twin Cities fundraiser with some of the state's wealthiest GOP donors. Gee, I sure hope those billionaires are all right, she wrote. See, it's like, you don't know these people. You don't know these people. What do you... Gee, I sure hope these billionaires are... It's so pithy. It's so pithy and pathetic. Meanwhile, I'm feeling a hit of dopamine for the first time since March 2016. It's the first time in a really long time scrolling isn't inherently doom scrolling. What does that even mean? Scrolling the news isn't doom scrolling? Like, you're not... Well, maybe you should stop reading all of these articles that are lying to you and telling you that the end is nigh. That Donald Trump is some dictator. It's so funny that they call Trump a dictator, and they never get into the specifics of how Trump is any of the things they accuse him of. They just paint with this broad brush, and because they want to believe it, they don't ask any further questions. They just accept it, recite it, and repeat it. So they talk about Trump being a dictator. A dictator doesn't give you more of your tax money back. They don't take less of your money. They don't, during a national pandemic, just back off and let the states choose how they want to handle their own situation. Same goes for riots. We have all these riots in these left-wing cities and states. If Trump was a dictator, he would have sent in the army, instituted martial law, insurrection act, and he would have just stomped them out. But what did he do? He offered help and said, it's here if you want it. Does that sound like a dictator to you? No. Doesn't sound like a dictator to me at all. He's also gone through and slashed all kinds of regulations to make it easier for people like you and me to start up businesses. Wow, that's real dictatorial there. I mean, these people don't ever think through what their positions are. And they don't ever look up information. They're incredibly low information, entirely emotional reactionaries. There's nothing more to their makeup than that. So, the editor-in-chief also condemned liberals such as NBC's Rachel Maddow, who have expressed concern for Trump despite disagreeing with him politically. Now, some blue-check liberals out there are saying that it's not cool or noble or taking the high road to joke about Trump getting coronavirus. And to them we say, big fart noise, she wrote. What is this, being written by a middle schooler? Really? Like... I feel like these people on the left, they were not raised with any real values, and they never grew up. They never outgrew this sort of childish mentality. It's that total failure to launch. And it's happened in career-wise, which, I mean, I could even say that I'm guilty of that myself to certain degrees. Just growing up in the culture that I did. There is a lot of failure to launch in my generation. But, this is just childish. Just extremely childish. So the tweets Castle highlighted in an article were in similar vein with one reading. I think I speak for everyone when I say that it would be insanely funny if he died of the coronavirus. Why would that be insanely funny? For the President of the United States to die? Oh, Then you guys get Mike Pence. So it's it's just ridiculous. And so of course the media is also jumping on, well, how can we get Trump out of office with this? How can we use this to get Trump out of office? So here they are. The media promotes the 25th Amendment scenario following Trump COVID diagnosis. Keep in mind, this is a disease with a 99.8% survival rate that most people don't even have symptoms of when they catch it. Like, they're so giddy and gleeful to jump to, I hope this incapacitates Trump so we can get rid of him. It's just really, really gross. It's like grave dancing almost. Scores of popular Twitter users, including many media personalities and pundits, posted tweets on Friday citing the 25th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which provides for a process for removing a president who is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. Being diagnosed with COVID does not even come within shouting distance of that threshold. Oh no, he has COVID. It's basically the flu. I mean, you wouldn't hear them saying this if it was just the regular flu, which kills about 60,000 a year. Still, a pretty deadly disease. And yes, coronavirus has killed about 200,000. So it is more transmittable, but it isn't any more deadly than the regular flu. So, Fox Business reporter Susan Lee noted that Google searches for the 25th Amendment surged up. She goes, two of my favorite indicators on President Trump COVID-19 diagnosis. Google searches on 25th Amendment surged after news broke, and also betting markets showed up in chances that Joe Biden and VP Mike Pence will become #president. Real money betting. I mean, I've already said it. These people are gross. So MSNBC analyst David Corn was quick to invoke the amendment. 25th Amendment, again, what makes you think that Trump is going to be incapacitated because of this? Like, they're jumping to the worst possible scenario, which to them, they're jumping to it because to them it's the best possible scenario. They want this to happen. They want Trump to be down for the count with this. So CNN chief international anchor Christian Amanpour tweeted that constitutional law expert Deborah Pearlstein says the 25th Amendment provides for a scenario of President Trump's diagnosis worsening. I mean, USA Today Justice and Legal Affairs reporter Christine Phillips said, it's too soon to talk about the president's demise, but it's not too soon to talk about the 25th Amendment. Trump's symptoms could get worse and could affect his thinking. Like, they are trying to find any tangentially related way to take him out. Getting sick with the cough doesn't affect your ability to think. Like it's all of a sudden going to turn him into like a brain dead zombie or something. It's their giddiness is so thinly veiled. So thinly veiled. Author Michael Beschloss, I don't know if that's how you say his name, also referenced the amendment. Okay, he just talked about a draft of to president. So CBS affiliated. You get the picture. You get the picture. All of these news anchors are just so excited about the 25th, the 25th Amendment being invoked and getting Trump out of office. The 25th Amendment, which concerns transferal of power from president to vice president, was last invoked in 2007 when then-President George W. Bush briefly transferred his authority to Vice President Dick Cheney while Bush underwent a colonoscopy. See, NPR is already, what happens if the president is incapacitated? The 25th Amendment charts a course. It's just really, really gross. But it doesn't get much grosser than what we have here from former Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama staffer wishes death on Trump. I hope he dies. So Zara Rahim, a former staffer for both Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, wished death on the president following Trump's positive coronavirus test. It's been against my moral identity to tweet this for the past 4 years, but I hope he dies. I don't think it was ever against your moral identity. First of all, you worked for Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. I don't think much is going to be against your moral identity. And see, this is what I was talking about. These people feign moral superiority. They feign a sense of virtue while living like total animals. And then they want to talk about how the right are hypocrites and that kind of thing. The right might have standards that we don't always live up to. Because honestly, if you are able to live up to your own personal standards all the time, your standards probably are not high enough. You should be looking to constantly seek to improve on your abilities, even if your aim is higher than what your abilities actually allow. It's just, but these people they feign it. They pretend to have morals, but they don't whatsoever. She reportedly followed up the tweet reading, "I feel free." Rahim served as a former national spokeswoman for Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign and worked in the Office of Digital Strategy for President Obama. The former Clinton spokeswoman's dark wish drew sharp reactions on Twitter. Piers Morgan called her remark both shocking and shameful, while others said Democrats were proving they are the party of hate. Yes, they are the party of hate. That's all they seem to know. And yet they pick these slogans like "hate has no home here." I'm sorry. You are a house built on hatred. You just think that you're justified in hating certain people. That you assume the people you hate. Wait, hold on. I don't think I said that right. They say hate has no home here because they're talking about, the intersectionals. But they have no problem hating Republicans who they assume hate the intersectional people. But typically they don't. They just don't care. They just want to live their own lives and be left the fuck alone. Because that's what the right tends to be. They don't want that stuff shoved down our throat. It may not be our values, but that doesn't mean we hate them for it. They don't seem to understand that because they have the brain power of a field mouse, to be generous. They don't have the ability to look at things like that. They say, oh, if you disagree with me, well, then it's because you hate. They always have to define everybody else's motives, as if they can read their mind and understand what's really in their heart. And then it's no wonder that they become so full of hate when it doesn't work out well for them. And somebody like Donald Trump, and the American people push back, and we get somebody like Donald Trump in office. And Donald Trump is a genuine threat to the entire establishment that they have built up. He is completely poking holes in the establishment media. He's threatening legally to a lot of these corrupt Democrat establishment operatives. We're talking about Obamagate and some of that Caribbean island stuff. I think you know what I'm talking about. So Piers Morgan says, shocking and shameful. This now deleted tweet was the reaction to President Trump testing positive for COVID-19 from Zahra Rahim, former Obama White House staffer and Hillary Clinton's former 2016 national spokeswoman. But have we heard word one from Hillary about all of this? No. She has not condemned Zahra Rahim for saying that she wishes the president would die, because I guarantee you Hillary saw it and probably laughed her cackling ass off. Like the wicked bitch of the West that she is. And then you can see other people's tweets here. Please die, please die, please die, please die. I don't know who this person is. Ned Arb, I don't know. Chastity said, time to die, please. Goldie, again, I don't know who these people are, but they are blue check marks. No, but seriously, I hope he dies. Steve Cox, you're better than that, come on. He says, no, I'm not. I hope they both die. I hope he suffers through this and dies as he's losing on election night. This is the loving left, everybody. This is the tolerant, virtuous left. They're true. I mean, when Herman Cain died of COVID, they danced on his grave. These people are gross. They're absolutely disgusting. And nothing's worse than Hollywood. So we have Hollywood celebs also trashing Trump over the positive COVID diagnosis. And we see Rob Reiner, that damn hoax. And then Diane Warren says, you tested positive for a hoax. Again, low information Democrats. Donald Trump never called coronavirus itself a hoax. What he called a hoax was his handling, how the media was portraying his handling of it. You know, the hoax was all the talk about how Donald Trump was doing nothing. Donald Trump didn't do nothing. Donald Trump shut down travel from China early when Joe Biden called him a xenophobe and bigot for it. Among a lot of these people called him a bigot for it too, a lot of these Hollywood types. He mass-produced ventilators. He had car companies making ventilators. He got them to all the hospitals. They had backups. He sent ships to these cities. None of this stuff was ever needed. None of this stuff was ever used. But Donald Trump still did it. But then he let the states handle their own processes going forward. Of course, if he didn't, they would have called him a dictator. Wait, they already call him a dictator. Do you get the utter incoherence of the left? Nothing about reality matters to these people. They have a team, they have a tribe, they put on their uniforms, and they bring out their battle axes, and they just charge the field swinging their battle axes around. And whoever they hit, they hit. They don't care at all about the truth, the facts, the rules of engagement. Nothing. Nothing. They are morally superior nihilists. It's morally superior nihilists and conspiracy theorists, because they never actually have any information for what they're talking about, and they don't care to. They don't care to. Again, nihilists. They don't care about anything. They don't believe in anything. Except for the public perception of themselves, which they craft through virtue signaling. Hollow, empty platitudes. Judd Apatow. Now, this guy goes on a real psychotic rant here. He says, they will let anyone die. This is murder. Call it what it is. It isn't sloppiness. It isn't a lack of belief in science. It is killing people because they believe it will somehow help them achieve their goal of not losing power and being held accountable. This is mass murder. This is mind-numbingly stupid. Does he call out any of those 5 Democrat governors who, after the warning came out on March 3rd, not to send COVID patients to nursing homes, decided to put COVID patients in nursing homes that amounted to the majority of those 200,000 deaths? No, you don't hear word one about that because they don't care. They are just psychotic, unhinged lunatics with no regard for what's really happening. They just have a team and they're fighting for it. See, the response to this tweet should be turned into a book with the money going to the people hurt by you and your policies. More people have been hurt by those Democratic nursing home policies than anything. Again, they don't even say, what do they want Trump to do? They've never made it clear what Trump was supposed to do. They want him to lock down the entire country? Well, then people are out of work. They starve to death. The supply chains break down. You know, you try to talk about the economy with them, and all they can think about is rich people in their stock markets. The economy is so much more than that. The economy is literally our ability to feed ourselves, to function as a society. You shut down that entire thing, more people would have died than from COVID-19. I thought 2 million people were supposed to die. So by comparison, 200,000 is a pretty good metric. 2 million before Donald Trump's strategy and plan was all laid out. It was 2 million people are going to die. Well, Donald Trump's strategy and plan has kept only 200,000 people, or has kept only 200,000 people dying. And most of those, Democrat states. At the same time that Trump was banning travel from China, Nancy Pelosi and fucking what's his name up in Bill de Blasio in New York. There were, Nancy Pelosi was saying, go down to Chinatown for the Chinese New Year parade or whatever it was. And Bill de Blasio was telling everybody to hit the bars and go out and have a good time. Do they get do they get held responsible for this at all? Of course they don't. Of course they don't. So he did not fail in dealing with the virus. He made a conscious political choice to let tens of thousands of people who would not have to let tens of thousands of people who would not have died if he wasn't focused on his attempt to look good and stay in power. He chose death. What does that mean, Judd Apatow? What does that mean? These people can never actually say anything of substance. They just throw out these broad brush accusations and claims without getting any specifics about fucking anything. I am so sick of this. I'm so sick of these people. Larry Charles, one salient fact, Trump is a liar. But okay, let's assume he really does have it. When did he know? Did he know at the debates? Did he hope he would infect Biden? This stuff is unhinged. Ava DuVernay, by the light of tonight's harvest moon, a new season begins. I don't even know what that means. Yeah, what does that mean? I hope this changes the discourse around this virus among people who follow him and don't give a damn, and in turn, who damn the rest of us. People have lost their lives, their loved ones, and this man has never taken it seriously, never shown care or concern. Maybe now, maybe. Yes, he has. He's absolutely shown concern. I don't know what these people want from him. He rushed to get all those ventilators, sent more than they ever needed up to New York, to all these different towns that were having hotspots when it first came out. He jumped on top of it like white on rice. What the hell more did you want from him? They won't ever say. Because they know that they don't have an answer. And that if they did have an answer, it was likely something Trump actually did. So, Army Hammer says, I like the presidents who don't get COVID. Chelsea Handler cracked a joke involving Kimberly Guilfoyle. So maybe Donald Trump can get some convalescent plasma from Kimberly Guilfoyle. I don't even get it. And there she says, thoughts and prayers with a big smile on her face, soaking in the sun by her Malibu beachside mansion. Smug little bitch. I mean, you get the hint. You get the picture. And what's so funny is that one of the worst countries in the world, they don't even have the class of the president of Zimbabwe. So the president of Zimbabwe, my best wishes to President Trump and the First Lady as they make a full recovery from the COVID-19. President Trump, the president of Zimbabwe, took to social media early Friday morning to wish U.S. President Donald Trump well and a speedy recovery from his battle with coronavirus. And some of you guys might not know a whole lot about Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe was one of those countries that stole all the land from the white farmers and then proceeded to starve themselves to death because nobody else knew how to farm, and are now begging the white farmers to come back. South Africa is following along in that path now. And of course, Robert Mugabe was the president of Zimbabwe previously, and Robert Mugabe styled Zimbabwe after North Korea. So it's funny to see that these Hollywood people have less class than even the president of Zimbabwe. Although to be fair, there were a couple responses. Alyssa Milano and Rachel Maddow actually did issue classy responses. So Rachel Maddow said, and I know I've ragged on both of these women before, but credit where credit is due. Because I am not so blindly hateful and spiteful that if somebody does something good, I can still call it out. I can still commend it. So Rachel Maddow says, God bless the president and the first lady. If you pray, please pray for their speedy and complete recovery and for everyone infected everywhere. This virus is horrific and merciless. No one would wish its wrath on anyone. We must get it spread under control. Enough. The problem is, what a lot of these people don't realize is there is only so much you can do to prevent the spread of a disease like COVID-19. But again, these people are completely, they're mostly atheists, and they completely reject the ideas of, the Christian worldview or not Christian worldview, the Western worldview, which is informed by Christianity, that kind of says, like, you can't control everything. You know, some bad things are going to happen. They have no ability to accept, because accept that the world is never going to be a perfect place. That we have been kicked out of the Garden of Evil because we are a fallen people. And they seem to think that because they're utopianists, they believe that through sheer force of will, we can create this utopian world where everything is perfect. But it can't happen. It never will. Because one person's utopia is another man's hell. There's no way of doing that. Alyssa Milano also said, as someone who has had COVID-19 and still suffers from post-COVID syndrome, I can honestly say with all that I am that I wouldn't wish this virus on my worst enemy. Please wear a mask. So she didn't actually name President Trump specifically there, but you could get her, that's her basically saying, I still don't wish it on President Trump. So for all the insanity of Rachel Maddow and Alyssa Milano, I have to toast them on being very classy in their response to President Trump getting COVID-19. I will challenge their ideas when they need to be challenged, but I will also commend them when they say something good. So to them, my hat goes off to them. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't already. Share this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, or you'll never know when I put new videos out, because we all know it's voices like mine that are first to be taken out back and old yellered by the folks at Big Tech. And please, share this video. Word of mouth is about the only way I'm ever gonna grow as a channel. You know, it's tough when you're a nobody with no social media following and start a YouTube channel talking about everything that Big Tech hates. I especially notice it when I make videos about Big Tech. They seem to only get like 20 to 30 views, and I find it highly suspicious how nobody seems to be interested in it, or nobody's seeing it. Also, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Parler at Ram Thorburn. And if you are interested in contributing to the channel, there are links to my Subscribe Star, Patreon, and PayPal down in the description below. Like I said, I got a new webcam on the way, thanks to you guys, contributing some money to the channel. Things like that I need to just keep growing and keeping the channel moving in positive directions. So anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.